The time was the 1970s, the high watermark of the tennis boom. And tennis players weren't just athletes, they were rock stars. Crossover cultural icons commanding big-time attention all over the world. And so Tennis Channel is pleased to offer an exclusive presentation of one of that era's finest events, the nationally televised Pepsi Grand Slam, a four-man ATP tournament that took place from 1976 to 1980. The Pepsi Grand Slam, a high-stakes shootout featuring the game's very best. The passionate Jimmy Connors always leaving it all on the court. His biggest rival, the understated Swede, Bjorn Borg. The young John McEnroe making his way to the top. Arthur Ashe, classy and compelling. And a host of other top players, Vitas Manuel Orantes, Brian Gottlieb, and the dashing Argentine, Guillermo Vilas. They're all here, giving their all. It's the Pepsi Grand Slam, only on Tennis Channel.
Yes. Oh, that's just too good.
Biggest shot of this match by far.
Beautiful hitting there.
Hi, I'm Kevin Frazier, and welcome to Tennis Channel Classics. You know, throughout the history of tennis, there have been special events that really help promote our sport in ways that are both innovative and engaging. One such competition began in 1976. It was called the Pepsi Grand Slam, a four-man ATP event pitting a quartet of the game's very best male players, often including those who'd recently earned Grand Slam singles titles. It aired nationally on TV on CBS, and the compressed format of the Pepsi Grand Slam was exceptionally compelling, and trust me, these were fierce battles. Now, our match today stars two brilliant left-handers, John McEnroe and Guillermo Vilas. I love saying that name. They were in a playoff for third place from the 1980 Pepsi Grand Slam, and you know, when it came to tennis, hitting the ball with their left hand was just about the only thing that these two had in common. McEnroe was an all-court player whose combined finesse and attack made his game special. Vilas, meanwhile, was a very physical baseliner, and his forceful topspin ground strokes often ground opponents into the dust. The style contrast between Johnny Mac and Willie made for very engaging tennis. Let's get you right out to CBS's Pat Summerall and Tony Trabert and the 1980 Pepsi Grand Slam match between John McEnroe and Guillermo Vilas.
Players ready?
Vilas at the far end, John McEnroe with his back to you. Vilas about to serve.
Love.
Should mention, Pat, that we've had quite a bit of rain last night and this morning. This court is wet. They put some extra top dressing on it to try to absorb some of the moisture. These are called all-weather courts, hard-through. The water does run through very nicely, but we've got an awful lot of rain.
What other effects does it have?
Well, if it's not too wet, the footing is actually better than when the court dries out. But if it is a little bit wetter than normal, the balls get heavier. It's a slower game than normal because the balls will pick up the granulation, some of the moisture and the top dressing.
15-30.
Because of those adverse weather conditions and because it is still threatening, this is an 8-game pro set.
Ball.
Yep. 15-40.
Double break point for McEnroe. And McEnroe's gotten a couple of cheap errors out of Vilas just in normal rallies.
Ball.
Game, McEnroe. He leads.
But John
1 game to
McEnroe
love.
gets a service
First
break
set.
and leads 1-0 first set.
8-game pro set. McEnroe to serve.
McEnroe leading 1-0 will serve from the far end now. The wind is a crosswind and pretty substantial too. It'll have an effect.
In the 3 days that we've had matches here, Pat, the wind has been in a different direction each day. First day it was blowing from left to right on the viewer's screen. Now it's going right to left. Yesterday it was blowing from the far end toward us. McEnroe's down. Not hurt, I don't think. Just slipped. Trying to recover.
15 all.
And you see him knocking the top dressing out of his shoes. That's one of the things that players will be doing, much like you do in football when you play in muddy conditions. You've got to keep that mud out of those cleats. You just hope that neither player injures himself due to the conditions. They're not treacherous, but it's just more slippery than they're accustomed to.
30-15.
Excellent smash by Vilas.
30 all.
It's a good defensive lob by McEnroe. It had Vilas back by the baseline, but Guillermo was up to it.
Good strong serve from McEnroe.
Being a left-hander, it always surprises you when it comes out to that side of when you return. You expect him to swing it. And you know they're not going to swing it all the time, but when they go the other way, it's a little bit, it catches you by surprise a lot of the time.
McEnroe just doing a little court maintenance himself.
That's out.
The game, McEnroe, he leads 2 games to
So
love.
far, Pat Vilas seems to be a little impatient, being more aggressive than you would normally expect him to be. On the other hand, when he played Borg, he was almost defensive. He was willing to keep the ball in play, but didn't do much with it at all.
And lost severely. 2-1 to Borg. McEnroe was surprised by Gerolaitis.
That might be less of a surprise from here on in, because Gerolaitis had a great tournament up in Madison Square Garden in the Masters. He's had an excellent tournament here. Perfect shot. Looked like it hit right on the sideline.
McEnroe looking down to see at the moment. Hasn't disagreed. And if he didn't agree, he'd let you know.
One thing about these courts, it does leave a mark. You can look at it.
Double fault.
First
15
one, that was
all.
a double fault, of course. First one for either player. Vilas got this far last year in this event and finished fourth.
When you take that looping swing at the ground stroke, there's no way that the player can read that you're going to make that topspin lob. It's the same kind of a stroke, so it has disguise automatically. And if you do it well, it can be very difficult to handle.
Fault.
Starting to rain again, Patrick.
Not on my side.
Your hair might get straight. That's wide.
30-40.
Bad break for Vilas. He would have had a winner on a passing shot, but the ball hit the top of the net and went wide, and it's break point for McEnroe. McEnroe already has a service break.
And leads 2 games still out.
Just wide.
Deuce.
Good serve by Vilas. That is something he did not do against Borg at all, is go for that big serve. Perhaps he felt that Borg could handle it anyway, but if you get that cannonball in, it can still be effective from time to time, even on this slow surface. Vilas holds serve. McEnroe leads 2 games to 1.
2 games to 1.
McEnroe leads Vilas 2 games to 1. An 8-game pro set. It rained all night, most of the day, and continues to sprinkle a little bit.
Love 15.
It's a ball that I think McEnroe rushes a little too much. If he would not take it quite so much on the rise, he could measure it better and we'd be more apt to make a good shot.
15 all. 15.
Offensive lob by McEnroe is hit with underspin somewhat into the wind so that you can drive it a little bit more. It gets clears over your opponent's head and sort of dies. It sinks back down. That's out.
30 all.
Textbook.
40, 30.
You're so right. Take him out of court, get in and block the volley off in the opposite direction. Vilas had a little trouble with the footwork on the slippery court. You've got to make up your mind it's slippery. You just forget it and do the best you can. Perfect offensive lob by McEnroe. He now leads 3 games to 1.
McEnroe, he leads 3 games to 1.
You say perfect, right in the corner. Very deep. You talked to him before the match, I know. Is that one of the things you may have suggested?
Well, a lot of times a guy like Vilas does come in close after he makes one volley. Works against a lot of people. Of course, you make that kind of an offensive lob, it'll work against almost anyone.
Yeah.
Vilas go into his forehand corner, and he slips and slides. He's back and sort of laughing at himself. He knows how tough it is over, and he's going to try to run Vilas into that forehand corner because once he hits it, he can't stop.
Same thing happened to him.
And I'll be interested to see what happens when they change ends. Vilas is even laughing. He say, "Man, what are you going to do?"
And it's not often you see him show that much emotion on the court. There he goes again.
15 all.
Way out.
15-30.
Not the customary patience you expect of Vilas.
Well, of course, after the match with Borg, he was criticized by a lot of people for not being more aggressive, by not changing what he does. So maybe he decided somewhere along the line he will try that. McEnroe has stayed back more than usual for him.
Vilas didn't like the call at all. And I think McEnroe felt that it was not a correct call. John goes over and circles one way over by the doubles line in jest. Still a break point for McEnroe. A very lazy type attempt that time by John, trying to make that passing shot up the line. McEnroe, I think, has broken a string.
Can I get one of those knives?
Yeah. Going to blow out. I'm not so sure that Vilas had two serves coming on that situation. I'm not sure he knew it. And he went for a cannonball. He had two balls in his hand, but I'm not so sure the umpire had said two balls. Did you hear him say it?
No, I didn't.
At any rate, Vilas has saved 2 break points.
We're back at deuce.
Advantage, Vilas.
And all of a sudden, the sun has come out. That looked like it would never happen today.
People are loving it.
Yeah. So are we.
Ball.
Just missed.
It was a fall.
Both wide and long. You can see that marked very easily.
Deuce.
It's good play from time to time. Take your opponent's second serve on the clay court. Make a good approach and attack. Make them think more about trying to do a little extra with the second serve.
Advantage, Vilas.
First ace from Vilas.
Deuce.
Break point for
Advantage,
McEnroe.
McEnroe.
For a moment, looked like that miss hit by Vilas was going to have enough topspin to come down, land in the court.
It's out by about a foot.
Vilas, and not good judgment by McEnroe, because there's no way Vilas could have come back cross court. The only place he could go was up the line or throw up a lob. McEnroe should have been favoring that side, but it was a super shot by Vilas, as you see right there.
Vilas almost lost his footing when he came to a stop on the other side. Tried to slide and couldn't.
Oh.
Just out.
An advantage, Vilas.
After a big struggle is held serve. McEnroe leads 3-2.
Crowd starting to settle in. And Stu Winston in the chair asking him to settle down a little bit. McEnroe obviously not too much disturbed, not taking as much time as he usually does when he serves, but effective nevertheless.
Love.
And if the sunshine stays out with the breeze, the court will dry out fairly quickly, which would be helpful to all concerned. Long.
30-15.
Vilas' ball hit something and jumped about an extra 6 feet. It was way over McEnroe's head.
There's a scuffed up spot just behind the service line on that end of the court. McEnroe's in. Looks like it hit that.
40-15.
It's one thing about this type of surface, hard true. It's a composition. And when you play on it while you run, you slide, the edge of your shoe will sort of mound up a little bit. It'll make little mounds in the top dressing. And you can get some bad bounces. And you'll see players always sort of sliding their feet around, smoothing out the different areas in the court. That's out.
40-30. Game at McEnroe. He leads 4-2.
So McEnroe has held serve to take a 4-2 lead. This is sort of an interesting match for me, Pat, because in Davis Cup weekend after next we play in Mexico City. If we win that, in all probability we'll be playing in Argentina 2 weeks later.
15 love.
And this will be a major confrontation between these two.
both of those places are at play.
Yes.
This should help McEnroe then.
15 all.
Any matches he plays on this kind of a surface will help him learn to play on it better. Approach shot was short.
30-15.
So that when he made his first volley, it was from a low position. He couldn't get anything on it, and it made it pretty simple for Vilas to get the next one down at his feet, cross court. If you're coming in, you don't penetrate with that volley, you're in big trouble on the surface.
McEnroe leads 4-2.
8-game pro set. They get the 7-all. They play the 12-point tiebreaker. Vilas holds serve, and McEnroe now leads 4-3.
McEnroe leads 4-3.
John McEnroe 4 games, Guillermo Vilas 3. 8-game pro set. John Mack waiting for what will eventually be a capacity crowd to settle down a little bit.
15 love.
Vilas again almost fell down at the other end of the court.
I get a kick out because he looks over at his coach Tiriac after he does that, like saying, well, do something about it, you know, help me.
Get out here and fix that thing.
Dry it up.
Up. 30.
There is Ian Tiriac. Get his hair dryer out and put it out there and dry the court a little bit. He's a super guy, you know. Fortunately, he's not as mean as he looks.
Tell you what, I was up early yesterday morning looking out over the golf course. He was out there with a youngster about 4 years old with an undersized tennis racket giving him tennis instructions. Tiriac.
Tells you something about the man. 30-15.
All.
McEnroe had the opening, but didn't time the ball very well at all.
Got the center line. That's his first ace. They all have. They both have one.
Great drop volley by McEnroe off a very tough shot. So he takes a 5-3 lead.
5-3.
And again, Vilas had trouble getting underway when he started up. I don't think he would have made it anyway.
He could have been in the starting blocks and not gotten to that one. And I think if you ask McEnroe, were you trying to make a drop volley out of that? He'd say, no, I was just trying to get my racket on it. It just worked out well for him. Good serve.
15 love.
Fault.
Double fault. It's the second one for Guillermo.
Too short on the approach shot. Vilas ball hit right on the line.
15.
Right on the tape.
I don't see any mark.
That is Herb Lewis. Been around a long time.
40, 15.
Two lefties, two of the best in the world. They got some weapons. Good deep serve by Vilas pays off. McEnroe now leads 5 games to 4.
John McEnroe leads 5 games to 4 in this 8-game pro set.
And he's serving with new balls. Again, not a distinct advantage on this type of surface. It would be a big advantage or a helpful advantage on grass. Indecision that time on McEnroe's part. I think he wasn't sure whether to hit it or let it go. McEnroe nailed it with some pace, got the top of the net and bounced over his racket.
It would have been a tough shot anyway, right at him like that.
Set up by the previous players. Take a look. This one right here, we has to half volley. Now McEnroe has a little time, though it was pretty deep. Back to the action. Missed the volley.
15-30.
Fine serve. See how far Vilas was out of court. It's tough to do on this kind of a surface, but boy, if you can swing them that wide, you're in pretty good shape. Break point for Vilas. It's a real careless play by McEnroe.
I wonder if the wind had an effect on that ball. It looked like he lost control of it for a minute. Obviously, he did. It went way out.
Well, Pat, when it's windy, if the ball has not been hit hard, it'll be moved around, buffeted more by the wind than if you drive it. You get there. Vilas is broken back to get even at 5-all. Here's another part. Now the half volley here went up too high. Vilas has the racket right out in front, rolls her across court. No way McEnroe could get there. And that young man has gotten his service break back to get even at 5-all in this 8-game pro set. If we get the 7-all, they'll play the 12-point tiebreaker. And of course, the first player to reach 7 with at least a 2-point advantage would be the winner of this match.
Vilas has suddenly gotten hot. Second service ace for him.
He's been going after that first serve a lot harder than he did against Borg the other day. You pump it enough times, you're going to make a few of them. When Vilas hit that big looping shot, this crowd went, like it's going way out, and it dropped in by about 6 feet.
It did look like when it left, it was going way out. The top spin does wonders.
Vilas had McEnroe about 15 feet behind the baseline. Gave him one of those big loop jobs. McEnroe tried to loop it back from way up over his head. And out popped a mouse. Hit both edges of the racket and ran down his elbow. 40-15. Got it, but the wind takes it wide, and for the first time, Vilas takes the lead 6-5.
Game, Vilas.
This is part of that last point of the last game. You see McEnroe slips here, just about goes down. You see he's got his hand on the ground. He still manages to get over to get his racket on it, but there's a crosswind from right to left as you view it. And the ball is blown well wide. Now we get back to the action at 5-6. First serve's a fault.
Love.
This is an 8-game pro set. Player to win 8 games by a margin of 2 will be the victor.
Love.
Well, I tell you, you can't smash it much closer to that sideline. Wide. This hit goes well out, and it's 40-love.
McEnroe trying to get even at 6-all.
slip, almost went down. And a very, very fine rolled cross-court forehand by McEnroe wins.
McEnroe gains a 6-all.
Looks like when they get over that corner, Tony, they're used to sliding and they can't slide because of the rain that we've had. And they almost fall down almost every time when they try to stop over there.
Either their foot, they slide a lot, Pat, maybe it's extra slippery under there, or it sticks, as you say, and it sort of grabs and throws them off balance. But both players have had difficulty stopping and getting out of that corner. And, of course, as a player, you know that's the case. I'd run that guy in there as much as I could. That's part of my job. 6-all. Again, the drop volley by McEnroe backfires. Good quickness by Vilas. Here's part of that last point. There's a good deep approach. Not a lot of pace. The ball is down. McEnroe tries to drop it gently, but he got it too deep. Vilas ends up winning the point. 15-love. Good enough approach shot.
McEnroe left his racket.
Sort of a suicide play. You know, you take that ball on the run as you're coming forward, and you better make a good shot. If you do, chances are you'll win with it. If you don't, you hit it too short, it's probably all over. Reversed. They get that ball down on you when you're at the net. It's sort of, you want to try to just drop it over. You think you can drop it over this softly so no one can get to it because it won't bounce too high. And if you do it perfectly, it works fine. If not, that's the result. The other option is to try to punch it back deep without a whole lot of pace, but keep your opponent farther away from you. McEnroe slips, just trying to make a routine move. He's fine.
40-15. Johnny, one towel. 40-15.
Big serve, big smash by Vilas, and he leads 7 games to 6.
Pat Summerall with Tony Trabert playing an 8-game pro set. Vilas over McEnroe, 7 games to 6. McEnroe will serve from the far end. If it gets to be 7-all, they'll play the 12-point tiebreaker. If Vilas wins this game, he wins the match.
Love.
Sort of a bad miss that time by Vilas, trying to make a approach shot. Missed it by 2 or 3 feet in the alley.
Ball.
Took it on the rise and just nailed it up the line.
15-all.
Ball.
Ball.
That time McEnroe got Vilas way out of court, and the little backhand drop volley paid off.
30-15.
Good return of serve by Vilas.
30-all.
Pat, we talk a lot about depth. You hear us talking about it all the time, and it doesn't matter what kind of surface you're on. If you get it deep, it usually pays off very well. The wind carried that one out.
40.
Vilas did a good job to get to it. And I think if it had been calm, that ball would have been good.
And right down the center of the court. Shows you how strong that wind is once that ball gets up in the air and is not traveling very fast.
Ball.
Again, McEnroe just slipped down trying to stop and go back the other way. Good play on a slippery court is what we call wrong foot your opponent. You go in behind them. You run him into a corner. When they're coming out, you go back into that same corner because it's hard for them to stop with sort of treacherous footing, get back and still make a shot.
Hey, sit down over there.
Advantage, McEnroe.
Get him back, get him. Good, John.
Big serve by McEnroe. Gets him to 7-all, and we go into the 12-point
We will
tiebreaker.
now play a 12-point tiebreaker.
Crowd really getting into it now. yelling for both players.
Some of them might have gotten into something before they got here.
I think that's very possible.
That's out.
Vilas 1, McEnroe love.
This 12-point tiebreaker. You have to get 7 points, but have at least a 2-point advantage.
It's wide.
Ball.
Bad volley. Bad first volley by McEnroe, though he ends up winning the point.
1-all.
It was short, there was nothing on it, and it gave Vilas another real good swing at it. You can't give good players that many swings at passing shots, particularly on a slow service where the ball is high. Vilas hit what you call an off forehand. Instead of pulling it, he went out the other way. Really did seem to fool McEnroe. He dove out there at the last minute and ended up making a drop volley for a winner.
McEnroe 3, Vilas 1.
That's out.
McEnroe 3, Vilas 2.
After this point, the players will change ends. You play 6 points from one end of the court and then change.
There is no break.
You're not supposed to towel off or drink water or anything. Once in a while, they grab a quick towel as they go by.
Mm-hmm.
Took it even at 3-all. He was way out of court.
3-all.
You'll see now when Vilas gets cross court, watch where he is beyond the doubles line, just into the alley when he makes that backhand cross court with a lot of topspin, a lot of pace. All McEnroe got was a laundry bill. Had a lot of good points in this match, not just a tiebreaker, but some terrific tennis.
Both fought hard at it.
You got to know that both are disappointed in playing this match instead of playing the final.
I always disliked intensely consolation games.
Lob by McEnroe.
McEnroe 4, Vilas 3.
Good serve by Vilas.
4-all.
Got to win 7 points with at least a 2-point advantage to be the winner. That will conclude this match. By Vilas, hit on the service line.
McEnroe 5, Vilas 4.
Gave McEnroe any choice of shots he wanted.
It's a helpless feeling standing up there like Vilas was after that shot.
But he did the only thing you can do, and that's wait and then guess and go one way or the other. He just happened to guess wrong. McEnroe can serve out the match if he can win these 2 serves. Now he can't.
5-all.
Excellent serve, crisp volley.
McEnroe 6, Vilas 5.
Now it's match point for McEnroe. Obviously, as a player now, that the dilemma as the server is, do you go for that first serve, the big one? And if I miss it, sort of have to be careful on the second one, let the other guy take advantage of you. Or do I spin it in and get the ball in play? Let's see what Vilas chooses to do. There it is.
Game.
He thought the serve was long. He hesitated right after he hit it.
7 games to 5. Thank you very much.
7-5 McEnroe. And he wins over Vilas.
Well, I've got with me John McEnroe, one of the best tennis players in the world. He's almost 21 years of age as we sit here doing this interview. And John, a lot of people know you as a left-hander who has a lot of talent. You've gotten in trouble on the court once in a while, but I don't think many people know much about you off the court. What kind of hobbies do you have?
I don't know. I didn't know you'd start off with that question. I mean, basically, I can't think of like too many offhand. I mean, I guess anything any other 20-year-old would do, just, you know, have a good time and enjoy myself. And we're traveling around a lot of the year, so it's not really too much time to do anything else besides play tennis, I guess.
So you calling being 20 years old and travel around having a good time, that's a hobby, huh?
Well, I mean, the things that go along with it, like going out, you know, a little dancing here and there, you know, I mean, if no one's watching, you know, that type of thing. I like to listen to music a lot, go to concerts, but nothing too, I'm not like a painter, if that's what you're asking.
You don't write poems and things like that?
Well, you know, Ode of a Loser this week. You know, that's my poem.
Okay, what kind of music do you like?
Well, you know, rock and roll. I go to a lot of concerts. I made a big debut in Australia, came on stage with a couple performers and had, you know, my dream come true, you know.
And any particular group that's your favorite?
Well, I like Eddie Money, Supertramp, you know, Rolling Stones, anything you like.
How about your family? You got brothers I know that play tennis. Let's talk about them. You got any sisters?
No sisters at all. 2 younger brothers, and they all come down to this tournament every year, and they come to the Davis Cup matches, as you know. And basically, I don't really see them too much. Only when I'm in New York or, you know, doing something like this, when it's nice to come down on vacation.
There is a particular network that covers most of the important tennis matches in the United States. You have any idea who that is?
What's that? Oh, I guess that must be CBS. Obviously, if we're like doing this interview for Boca Raton, I mean, I wish I was playing right now, but.
Well, good, John. You got that one right. You were down.
I just wanted to throw, you know, I mean, since you're the newscaster of the year or whatever, I mean, obviously it's got to be the best network.
Now, if you had to pick the greatest tennis player of all time, who would it be?
Besides you? No, I said it at dinner the other week. I don't know. I mean, Rod Laver was my idol when I was growing up, so I thought he was great. I probably think he's one of the greatest. I mean, I didn't really. You're a little before my time, I hate to admit.
That brings up a question. Someone asked you after we played in Australia last October in Davis Cup. It was a very windy day, and you were with me when somebody said to me, when I played in Australia 25 years ago, was it that windy? And what did you say?
I don't remember. I think I said something to the effect that there was no wind in those days.
It was so long ago they didn't have wind. That's what John McEnroe said to me. Anyway, John, we want to thank you for being with us. We hope this will be a little bit of a glimpse for our fans and your friends into your life other than the tennis. And we wish you well. We'll look forward to having you in Davis Cup.
I'd also like to say hello to Stacy in California, if that's possible.
Who's Stacy?
Stacy's a girl that's a very good tennis player, and she's a very nice girl, and she comes to the Davis Cup matches and very nice, and she's going to win the tournament next week, and that's that.
Well, she's a left-hander. You're a left-hander. They say that lefties are flakes. Is there anything to that?
I think that's a true statement. I mean, I certainly am.
John, thanks a lot for being with us. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Vilas remained one of the game's finest players, if not quite at the level of a McEnroe, Bjorn Borg, and Jimmy Connors, then certainly very close. And, you know, to this day, Vilas' love for tennis is really unsurpassed, as evidenced by his frequent attendance at every Grand Slam tournament. Meanwhile, McEnroe would confess years later that this was the period when he was most enjoying tennis. From 79 to 81, John said he relished a chance to topple Connors and pursue Borg. That he did it with such artistry and skill instantly made him a tennis superstar. And, oh, let's not forget, he also sprinkled in a little personality, and it's one of the reasons we love him to this day. For this edition of Tennis Channel Classics and our presentation of the Pepsi Grand Slam, I'm Kevin Frazier, and of course, we'll see you next time.